This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to leave my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have an exciting episode for you guys today. It's been a minute since Zach and I have actually recorded a dual episode, so we're excited to dive in. We'll give you a little personal updates on our end as well, but today is going to make you think a little bit. It's going to shake you a little bit, and it's going to challenge you a little bit. But we desperately need your help. This is a cry for help from us. In order for you guys to join our mission, because in order for our country to improve it all, we've got to raise our standards. And so we're going to dive into some things today that frustrate Zach and I, but hopefully this will spur you into action in any area of life where you know you need to level up. So I'm not going to dive into all of our housekeeping stuff. You guys know the number here. If we add value to your life, please share the show with one man in your life who you think will improve his life as well. And for those of you guys who continue to follow along with our mission, we truly appreciate your help. You could just do our one favor. It's a value exchange here. We don't make money off this podcast. We don't run ads for this show. We don't run ads on the show. We don't promote shit that we're not going to use. And so the one thing that we ask of you is if you do get value, help us grow the show. Share the show with another dad in your life who you know it will help. So, Zach, let's give a little personal update, dude. How are things going on the sleep side of things and baby world and all the fun stuff you got going on in the Smith residence?
Man, look, it's been a long time since we had I don't even know if it's been a long time in the grand scheme.
It seems like that, yeah.
It seems like it's been a long time,
yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, in reality, it's been the same. It's been the same, man. We don't even need to talk too much about that because that update is not going to be anything different until at least another 2 months or so when I'm able to sleep train this little girl. Yeah. So, sleep deprived still, but still pushing away and pressing on like we always do, man. The same exact thing that I told you last time we had this episode, dude. Sometimes shit gets hard. Sometimes things get, you get sleepy, you lack concentration, but you got to do best you can with what you got, man. So that's just what I live by, right? Not every day you're going to show up with 100% capacity, but you got to give 100% of whatever the hell you show up with. So if I show up like today with 50% because I had to stay up late last night, my kid woke up in the middle of the night a couple of times with a lingering cough that he got from having a bacterial infection. True story, by the way. Guess what? I show up at 50, 60, 70%, and I'm going to give 100% of whatever the hell I have. And that's today, and that's right now. That's what it's all about, to operate, though, dude. That's the only way. If you want to at least be productive and continue making forward progress, right? Some days you're going to take baby steps, crawl or whatever. Some days you're going to have leaps and bounds. But the reality is, if you show up and give 100% of whatever the hell you have in the tank, you will always go forward.
No doubt. Period. No, I agree with that. And I think that, the reality is, and really circling back on this episode is, we got a lot of excuse makers in this country, dude. And like what we're being fed by the media and the healthy at every size and everything else it's frustrating. And I know that in my own life, like my personal story is this: I'm still stuck in my mother-in-law's house, but on the flip side of that, I'm grateful to have a place to stay. My wife and I, we hope that we have a contract out on a house right now. And we hope that they will accept and we will be able to move forward. But right now I'm living in a very small space. Like I told you before the show, I mean, my mother-in-law was getting her house ready to be updated before we moved in. And so there's 2 rooms in this home of a 4-bedroom house that are completely off limits. And so my family of 4 is living in a very confined space right now. But again, I'm happy and grateful that we have a place to live. And so it could be a lot worse for me. And I agree with you, man. Like there's days where I'm deflated. This is our fifth contract offer, and we've struck out on the first 4. And so my mentality is, as long as I've got at bats, I'm going to keep fucking swinging, dude. And I'm going to keep getting up every day and doing my best to move forward, like you said. And so I think today's episode is, it's going to be a little bit thought provoking for some men that listen to this, but we speak the truth on this show. And I think today, we're going to talk a little bit about our frustration with the health and fitness industry as a whole, the weight loss industry as a whole, because Zach and I talk to a lot of men. We talk to a lot of guys every single week, and we talk to the guys in our community. We talk to guys online. We're very much based online. And so whether that be conversations on Facebook, conversations on Instagram, conversations on LinkedIn, the feedback and the things that we're seeing from the general population is pretty deflating and exhausting, because guys just don't want to get better like they did in prior years in our business. Guys just don't have the desire to want to get good. And when we find our guy, we know immediately that it's our guy. If Zach and I spend 5 to 7 minutes on the phone with the guy or a Zoom call with a guy, we know pretty quickly if they truly have a desire to get better. And when you're talking to guys who do the talk, they talk the talk and they talk the big dream, but they're not willing to put in the work. It's frustrating because we have the opposite mentality. And so, Zach, I want to ask you a question, man. Why do you think that we have a 70% overweight percentage in this country and a damn near 40% obesity epidemic in this country? I know there's a lot of reasons, and I know that's a loaded question, but
right.
Is there one or two things that stand out in your mind right now on why so many people are just accepting and embracing the obesity epidemic as normal?
Yeah. Very loaded question, because we've covered this before. Could be socioeconomic status. It could
There's
be
a ton of
fresh
but in your
fruits and
opinion,
vegetables. It could be income, which I think is one of the worst ones, to be honest, because there's already government programs out there that can assist you. Plus, you could buy frozen options, which are way cheaper than some other things that you can buy, especially because nowadays in the grocery store, yes, things have gotten more expensive with the whole inflation thing, printing of the millions of dollars, but food prices, like at least eating out, have gone up dramatically, man. We're talking like 25-30%. At least that's my personal observation. And I cross-reference that with you, and you're like a few states away, and you've also said that's true as well. So that's not an excuse. Most people, I don't have time. They're just excuses. Like you said, it's just a bunch of excuses, man. But at the end of the day, when we really boil it down to what I believe is the reason why most people stay exactly where they are, it's because they look no different from their peers. Yep. When the vast majority of everybody looks overweight, you're considered normal. Yep. And most people don't want to break out of the mold of normal because that is comfortable. Mm-hmm. So the problem is, like, let's flip the script. Let's just be hypothetical here. Let's pretend that 95% of people were in great shape, living healthy lives, high quality, high quantity. Dude, they're doing their thing, right? The people who are out of shape are going to feel more like the outliers. They're going to feel like, oh man, I'm lagging behind. I need to step it up. I need to do better for myself, for my family, and everything, and all the good reasons as to why you'd get in better shape. That would be a thing. But because of the fact that it's 73.6 to be, 100% accurate here of Americans overweight or obese.
What did you say? 73.6?
73.6. Yeah, it's as of like
Disgusting.
2018 or as of 2019. I think those are the latest numbers that they have. 73.6% of Americans over the age of 20, with about 1 out of every 5 of children between 2 and 19 are obese or overweight as well. So when you start to see the trend going in the wrong direction, people are going to justify why they look that way. Well, there's nothing wrong with me because I look like everybody else. I look like Fred. I look like Betty. I look like Becky. I look like Sam. It doesn't matter. It's easy to just go into that mold of conformity. And because it is further reinforced by corporations. Because when you see that you look like everybody else and that starts to become the standard, the norm, the place of comfort, guess where marketers are going to find your ass? In your place of comfort. So what they're going to do is they're going to, for dollars' sake, right? This is for the sake of money, right? Which I think sucks ass. But look, they're doing their job, and they're doing a damn good job because they're pulling our country in the wrong direction continuously. They are further assuring these people that this is completely normal by having mannequins that are overweight. I mean, you already have your thing with the adult diapers.
Yeah,
right?
I'll share that.
Middle-aged overweight. Yeah. And I know we could talk about that a little bit too, but like we're starting to see that, right? Plus size models, right? When the marketers and the corporations start to let you know that, hey, we know where you are and that's completely normal, and they market to you in a way that's very, very, like, you could see yourself in their shoes. That's marketing in a nutshell, man. Can I see myself in this person's shoes that I'm seeing on my television, on my phone, on my tablet, whatever it is? Because then that's how you get emotional buy-in, and when you get emotional buy-in, you're sold. So now you are like everybody else. And now you're reassured by big corporations that you are completely normal. So why do you need to change?
Yeah.
There's literally no reason to, man. So I think at the end of the day, that's really what it is, dude. You're going to be exactly like what your peers are. If 10 jacked dudes, 10 in shape dudes, 10 fit or healthy dudes are hanging out with one big fat dude, the fat dude's going to want to eventually change.
100%.
Right? That's the way it's going to work. But if you got 5 fat dudes and 1 skinny dude, guess what's going to happen to him? He's eventually going to get to the point where he starts getting on some weight, man. Happened to me.
Yep. Stops caring. You know, you bring up some great points there, and you know, the old classic, you know, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, kind of yada yada. We all know that. And
those averages are overweight now.
Yeah. And everywhere you go, you know, there's obese people. There's way more overweight and obese people than there are fit people, and the numbers don't lie. And so, you know, we've all seen we've talked about this a lot of times, but the beach comparison pictures, right, from the 70s to now, and it's embarrassing. And but that's the standard. And today's episode certainly not a politically driven episode at all. But I will add this one little layer, is that, you know, you're creating more government dependence when you have an obese population who is addicted to sugar and is on massive medication lists. And so, you know, as we talk about this, you know, could potentially some or all of this be by design? Sure. But what I also think we've seen is big food and big pharma and, you know, big everything, the government controlled bigs certainly don't help the situation. And they do a masterful job at marketing, right? Like I think I've talked about this before, but like the Cliff Bar kind of deal, right? We were told those are super healthy for the longest time, and like, I'm not going to knock a Cliff Bar, but dude, if your normal person goes and eats a Cliff Bar and they think that's a healthy snack, but you're not physically active, you could do a lot better, right? And I think that they put the guy hiking on the cliff and all that up the thing, and so you know, and that's not even the best example. That's just I think an average example, if you will. But I think what you brought up, man, the kind of the guilt by association, if you will, you know, if you're going into the office every day and you're in an environment where you want to do better and you want to eat healthy and you're trying to get better, but you know, your coworkers, let's say 80% of your coworkers are bringing in, you know, shitty fast food in the break room and it stinks up the break room. You're smelling that, you know, McDonald's or, you know, Taco Bell or whatever it is. Over time, the temptations and the urges and the cravings for quote unquote your old lifestyle, right? If you're trying to make changes, they'll get you because everybody else is chomping down on that same, you know, calorically empty food, the shitty addictive food that they're getting from these fast food places, right? The food additives and things that make you keep coming back. And so if you're bringing your healthy lunch and you got fucking salmon, sweet potato, and asparagus, and everybody else is eating McDonald's or Burger King, over time, it's going to be hard for you to keep showing up with the salmon, sweet potato, and asparagus. And don't be the guy that's microwaving fish in the break room. But that was just my example. So let's say grilled chicken, right? So I think what you said about the kind of the, you know, you didn't use this term, but the guilt by association kind of deal. I think that's a massive impact on what we're seeing. But then again, the marketing, like we see, you know, they're propping up the plus size models. They're propping up people like Lizzo, right? Like she's in the limelight all the time because she's like a perfect person for this epidemic. She's the leader of the epidemic, if you will. And I don't know if you saw this kind of sidebar. Did you see the article where she's got lawsuits against her because she was fat shaming her fucking crew, her dance crew? she was fat shaming her own dance crew, which again, sidebar. But what you brought up, nuts, dude. But what you pot calling the kettle black. You brought up the adult diapers, all right? And I was walking down in the grocery store the other day, and can't remember what I was looking for, like my kid's toothpaste or something, fluoride-free toothpaste for my kid. And I ended up on the adult diaper aisle over in the pharmacy section, and I noticed that for the men's adult diapers, I took a picture of it, and I want to say there were 4 different brands, and all 4 brands had obese, like late 40, early 50-year-olds modeling these fucking diapers. Like, number one, most most people that are wearing diapers aren't in their late 40s or early 50s. And number two, like, why are we using middle-aged men to model diapers when that's generally going to be an elderly person, right? Could you have not used an obese elderly person maybe? So, but the whole push to healthy at every size, and I want to add this in there because this was a major catalyst in me getting out of the corporate wellness space before I started Dad Bod Health in 2018. So when I was doing health coaching in the corporate wellness world, they made a big push right at the end of right around the time that I quit, where they came out and we did multiple meetings on this, where we were going to shift our focus and get away from, the obesity talk and like encouraging the weight loss. And we were going to start coaching people to be healthy at every size. Like, this became a thing back in 2018, 5 years ago. They were talking about this healthy at every size. And I had a couple of dietitians that I work with that sat in the cubicle that I sat at. And one of them was a close friend of mine who I still talk to this day. And I told her, absolutely not. This is not okay. I'm not on board with this. This goes completely against everything that I stand for, and that it's fucking bullshit that there is no healthy at every size. And she started trying to defend it. And I knew at that very moment that, this person, she's a very highly respected dietitian, and she's very knowledgeable. She's excellent at what she does. She's great with her clients. I would never speak down on her, but as soon as she defended that, I immediately knew that I'm not going to call it brainwashing, but the re-education process, right? The re-education process was starting to happen at the facility that I was working at, or the company that I was working at. And if this was going to be the trend, that Jason wasn't going to be part of this, because I'm not going to tell anybody to their face that it's okay to be obese because there's such thing as healthy at every size. Fuck off with that. If you think there's healthy at every size, it's gut check time, because that's false. And you're going to live a shitty life if you start to believe in that. No matter what age you are, you are going to fall victim of the obesity epidemic. And if you are in that now and you're wanting to get better because you're tuning into the show, I'm here to tell you that is a one big bold-faced lie. And if you even try to convince yourself of that, you're listening to the wrong show. So there is no such thing as healthy at every size. And so you brought up the point about the guilt by association and the marketing. And I'll be honest, man, at this point in time, with what we're seeing, again, there's a lot of factors, right? But I think those are the two biggest control factors, if you will, that are excelling the epidemic at an increased rate, because there's obese people everywhere. You're going to be around them. And the marketing is being shoved in your face that this is the health food. This is what you're supposed to eat. And it's okay to be obese because this is how we do life now. And I'm just not here for it.
Yeah, it's an interesting time that we live in, because we are very much a nation of consumers. And like you're saying, like the food spots, right? Whether they're just building a building or creating a product that they put into a grocery store, whether it's fast food, their intent is to make $1, not to make you fat. But in order to make $1, they need to make you come back. Yep. So they have to make the food comprised of a certain amount of, sugar and fats to make it highly palatable so that you continue to come back, right? So they're not directly trying to make you fat, but indirectly they do so. Well, directly they do so, but that's not their direct intent. It's about making money. Yep. And then marketers, they want to reinforce what it is that you have conformed to in order for you to further buy more things that's gonna justify why you are where you are, or what's gonna help you in your current situation. So it's like, I think all these companies, that's kind of like what's going on here, right? They don't have ill intent per se. I don't want to say that. They just want to make some damn money. And I get it. We're a capitalist nation, right? And people are consumers. But again, like McDonald's is not out there just being like, hey, we got to make everybody as fat as humanly possible. That's not their goal. Their goal is to just gather up a ton of real estate, put together a lot of like food that they're going to have people come back to eat more of.
Yeah, that's
not necessarily like I want to make them feel like shit and become super fat. Like, no, I don't
think their goal is
restaurants. Is that goal.
I think their goal is to make them as addictive as possible, right? Maybe not as fat
so they
as
keep
possible,
coming back.
But I want you addicted so that you love the fuck out of McDonald's and you're going to come in here 3 or 4 times a week, right?
And you keep coming back. So that's what it is. So there's a lot of issues that are happening. And we talk about the cultural problem that we have in society nowadays, but it's so true, man, because as a society, like news outlets, right? They're not about truthful news anymore. They're about fast news, right? Fast news over accurate news. We like dramatic controversy over just the plain, simple, objective truth. We love crash diets over responsible and steady dieting approaches.
We love immediate gratification.
Like fast weight loss over sustainable weight loss. It's just kind of like it's just kind of the problem with society nowadays, man. It's just a massive conformity to where we're heading at because of the hijacking of all these different movements, and then the reinforcing by marketers, the reinforcing by the news media outlets and all that shit. And it's just a terrible direction for our country to go in, man. We're like losing ourselves as Americans. We're becoming, although I still believe we're one of the greatest countries ever. We're the greatest country in the world. I gotta say that, man. I'm biased. I live here. But but the reality is the quality of our people is definitely at a massive, rapid decline. Right now.
Decline is
it's starting to become a point where all these other countries are laughing about us because of what stupid shit that the media puts out there that doesn't even represent the majority of Americans, right?
We are the
99% of us are very normal. We're level-headed individuals, reasonably responsible. Yeah, most of them are freaking overweight and fat. Sure, but we're not like what you see on Facebook or Instagram when you see people fighting over the last TV at Walmart, right? You know, most of us aren't like that.
No,
but again, the news outlets are putting those things out there because, again, it generates ad revenue, which gets them more, more views, more money, more momentum. So these are just the different companies doing their jobs, but because they do it so well, it's actually having a detrimental effect on the psyche or, of the people. So they get stuck in these, we'll call it this, right? Because everything is a damn algorithm when it comes to targeting, right? Marketing, Facebook videos that it shows you, all that stuff like that. It's like people, you get stuck into your own algorithm based on the things that you decide to watch, listen to, who you associate with. You essentially put yourself in your own algorithm and expose yourself to those things. And now you're looking for things that are going to confirm your bias and your belief system. That's the problem, man. So again, if you're around 6 other fat dudes, why do you feel like you need to change when everybody else is just like you?
They've accepted it. They're having fun eating a bunch of food and they don't have to work out. That's appealing, right?
Exactly, man. So here's the thing. Although at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to understand what the hell is going on in your life and changing it for the better. That's your responsibility. But I will also say this, because of how well everything is working in terms of like the algorithms that are targeting you and all this shit like that, I will also say that it's not necessarily your fault. So if you're somebody that wants to change, let this be a wake-up call. I didn't know that I was a massive excuse maker. It's your fault
if you choose to stay stuck. You've heard this message. You now know the truth, and you probably knew the truth before this show.
Correct.
It's not your fault that you're here today, and where you're at is not who you are. It's currently where you're at. The bottom line, though, is if you choose to stay stuck, you are part of the problem, and you are part of why America's in such a decline. You are a product of that. Everybody wants to talk about how we can fix it. How do we fix it? It starts with you that's listening to this show right now, you raising your standards and doing a little bit better each day and inspiring those around you. And I'm not just talking about your fucking family, dude. It is your moral and ethical obligation to lead by example for your children. I'm talking about your coworkers, your community. I'm talking about inspiring others to do better because you're doing better, because you're choosing to do the hard shit when you don't want to do the hard shit. And so, yes, I agree with you, Zach. It's not their fault because the personal algorithm is a thing. When you get trapped into that algorithm, you're getting thrown shit right and left that's only going to lead to your own demise. But if you choose to stay stuck in your own algorithm and you don't choose to set your life up by design, i.e. clicking on positive shit, going and reading positive content, listening to positive messages on podcasts, listening to positive media outlets or non-biased media outlets. And I don't even know if there's exist anymore other than independent journalism. But the shit show that's in the White House right now clearly is not a representation of most Americans. And if most Americans want to take back our country, we're going to have to raise our standards as men. And so, yes, I agree with you that it's not your fault, but it is 100% your fault if you choose to stay stuck in your own fucking algorithm.
Correct, man. Correct. You said my cool finishing line I was going to use, man. But hey, you already knew the track. You already knew the track that I was on, man, because it's so damn true that you were able to easily predict what the hell I was going to say, right? And that shows us that we do have a trend in this country and a bad one. So you're right. If you are where you don't want to be, it's absolutely okay. And it is not your fault. And let me tell you why it's not your fault, because marketing gets your ass and gets you to buy things emotionally before even realizing that it's probably logically not the best thing for you.
We've
Not
both
only
been
that,
victims of that, dude. Not even
course,
related
of
to health,
course.
but other things. We're all
of
victims
course,
of it.
of course, of course. So, and then let's bring it back even further, right? We go through school, and science is one of the major subjects that we have to learn in school, right? Let's talk about middle school and high school, right? We start talking about chemistry, biology, physics, physiology, anatomy, inorganic, organic chemistry. We talk about every single science, but we don't talk about the science of nutrition and maintaining a healthy body, right? They teach us how many muscles are in the body, how many bones are in the body, how many organs are in the body, what do they all do? You have to understand the structure of a cell system. Mitochondria is the energy, you know what I mean? Like a powerhouse of the all that crap like
Who
that. Like they have to say all those things. Exactly. So they teach us everything about the human body except how to take care of it.
Yep.
So this is why I say it's not necessarily your fault. But guess what? If you listen to this and you don't make forward progress starting right now, it is now your fault, because you have now seen the light. You now know why it's not your fault. But again, if you stay here, if you choose to stay here, because nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to be a fat dude one day. No, you ended up in this position because of ignorance, and ignorance is okay. The difference between ignorance and stupidity is ignorance is just, you just did something, you didn't realize it was a mistake. Stupidity is from here on out, if you don't do anything, you know it's wrong, yet you do it anyways. Now you're officially stupid. Don't be stupid. You got to take steps in the right direction now that you have seen the light. And like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm no better than anybody else. It took me damn near 3 decades of my life to realize I was a massive fucking excuse maker, because I was surrounded by other individuals who are excuse makers as well. So guess what? I did not know I was an excuse maker. It's like a fucking fish doesn't know that he's in a fishbowl, right? A fish does not know that his existence is in water until he starts questioning his existence. I did not know, because I was in my own little circle. And Jason, I know you're going to appreciate this term based on a post I recently made. Your own echo chamber with other individuals. That's an inside joke, guys. For those of you who are like, what are they talking about?
That guy. Yeah.
So, but that's what it is. That's what it is, right? You surround yourself with other people who reassure you that you're on the right path. You surround yourself with other people that reassure you that your biases are confirmed. You're fine. And then you get targeted by those things, because our phones are listening, right? So you're like, dude, if everything looks normal to me, then there's nothing wrong. Now, if you started getting targeted with a bunch of things saying, hey, we heard you say you're fat, this is why you need to not be fat boy. If you heard stuff like that, you'd be like, whoa, something's wrong.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Nope.
We don't do that. We hear somebody say that they love food, they get targeted by restaurants, they get targeted by food companies, they get targeted by all kinds of other things that further make their problem even worse. So that's the bottom line. That's the message to you guys. Now that you know, now that you are in the know, now that you have seen the light, if you choose to continue on this path and not make a change, this is your fault.
Yep. I love it, dude. I love this message. This is a very valuable episode. You guys chew on this one for a while. This is a great place to wrap. Here's the thing, dude. Today's Momentum Monday. Our episodes come out on Mondays. If you're listening to this on a Monday, you have no excuse. You heard the truth. You heard every bit of the truth. Go out there and get better this week. And if you know another man in your life who needs to hear this message, let them know. Share the show. See you guys next week.